Warning. You are now in forbidden space.
Welcome to Forbidden Planet. I'm Blake.
I'm Kristen.
And today we have Kevin Gibes and returning guest Bryan Stubbs. Actually, Kevin's returning as well, but we don't have his other one because it was too disjointed, and I'm lazy. So we just got back from watching Avengers Age of Ultron. You guys for the second time, right?
Yep.
Us for the first time.
Yes.
We saw it in 3D.
Yes, we did.
I have no complaints about the 3D whatsoever.
I think it is, well, let's just say it's improved drastically since, whatchamacallit?
What? Avatar?
Avatar, thanks, babe.
I've seen a couple good 3D movies. You know what is the best, worst 3D movie I've ever seen? Transformers Dark of the Moon.
I think the best, worst 3D movie I've seen is Jackass 3D.
Oh, God, you actually saw that
Yeah,
movie?
there was a flying dildo in 3D. It was great. it was a fantastic movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I've seen lots of movies in 3D.
I haven't seen that many movies in 3D. I'm not a huge fan of it. These recent Marvel movies this past year's worth or so has really started turning me on to them.
You know what I think?
Absolutely. Well, the technology's gotten better.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Definitely, but I think that Ant-Man's going to be a great 3D movie because of the depth of field.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're just automatically going to have giant landscapes you have to portray with lots of depth because they're so tiny.
I was telling Blake that we were talking about how just people don't really go to the theater anymore. You know, it's not...
I do.
Well, yes, and there are people who do, and we love the movies, but there has been a huge decline in moviegoers.
Pretty much for the last 15
They
years.
have figured out how to get them back, though. I mean,
the gimmick. It was a gimmick, but now it's like people want to experience it.
When I've read 3D movies do really well overseas, so that's why one of the reasons I still do it, but in America it's an all-time low. But
everything
but I
is better
think people
overseas
have a bad
now.
taste in their mouth.
But
it's getting
3D's
better.
never bothered me, and I still don't care about it. So,
Captain America: Winter Soldier, we saw it, and because we got, admittedly, we got the wrong seats. We were too close.
Brian, we went.
in theory, it's supposed to work at any
And that beginning fight scene in particular, it was so quick when Captain America was fighting on the ship that it seemed almost choppy. But the rest of the film was great. That's the only problem I had with it.
You see, but that was the film that actually got me started in actually enjoying 3D.
Yeah, we made you. You were actually disappointed.
Yeah,
You're like,
that's right.
I don't know if I want to see that with y'all if it's going to be in 3D.
But y'all pretty much forced me, and I was like, wow, this was actually... I wasn't forced to where I was feeling like I was going to leave the theater wanting to throw up.
Yeah, that's a problem. I have, we saw... what was the space movie with George Clooney and Sandra Bullock? We saw Gravity in 3D.
But they had spinning shots for minutes at a time.
Way too much, dude. I felt like I was
And Sandra Bullock would make anybody queasy. I hate her. Anyways, the Ant-Man thing, real quick blur about the Ant-Man. You saw the original test footage, right? From
they're using that
Wright?
footage or something really close to it. Yeah.
Gosh, what's his name? The director of Hot Fuzz, Edgar Wright. He was attached since before Iron Man. They had those the shots in the long glass hallway where he flips up the gun barrel. Mm-hmm. That was from the original test footage shot before Iron Man was ever shot, and they used it in the movie even though he's not directing it.
Apparently, what happened was there was no hard feelings. It was just
I heard it was all amicable. But
so apparently, he wanted to do it before End of the World, but apparently, his cinematographer or director of photography or something. Was ill, or they weren't sure if he would be able to, and then he wanted to finish that trilogy of movies with him, so he put a halt on Ant-Man. And by the time he came back, the MCU had already moved on, so they had to rewrite it.
They steamrolled over his script.
They had to. Well, I mean, if they want to keep it connected, they had to.
And it's not even necessarily the beginning of Phase 3. That's Kevin Feige. He said
it's part of Phase 2.
It technically belongs. It's in Phase 3, but it's part of Phase 2 because it doesn't push
Phase 2,
that whole the Infinity War. It doesn't push that forward.
Which one?
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. Oh,
yeah.
thank you. Yes,
Which is kind of cool. When you think about it, it's like this year's Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah, that's
something fun that's disconnected, more or less.
It's going to. I'm telling you, Ant-Man is going to be a huge setup to Civil War. Listen to the trailer. What did his name say?
Michael Douglas?
Michael Douglas says if you give everyone superpowers, something the world becomes chaos. Something along those lines. That is going to be what the foundation of Civil War is in Captain America Civil War.
And they were already kind of pointing Age of Ultron. Well, we'll get into Age of Ultron officially. They were kind of pointing in that direction with Ultron's. Well, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, whatever.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to put it in the tag for this.
Yeah, why are you
so don't listen to the rest of this if you haven't seen the damn movie. But Ultron's whole plan was to make them look bad to the public. It was a PR war, basically. And so that'll just kind of catapult forward, especially with Captain America. Alright, so I'm just going to go in a circle. Kevin, what do you have anything in particular to say about anything that stood out in particular to you?
Vision is like my new favorite character.
Oh god!
Yeah,
oh my god, dude!
Incredible.
Paul Bettany, man, he was just dying to be used. The whole
what
time
a beautiful use of
Yeah.
that whole storyline.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing.
And what's great is you just know that they had no concept of him playing Vision when he was originally cast.
And they worked
No way.
in. And that's
No
what's
way.
great about the
And
movie, they're
leave
so
it up.
organic.
Leave
Yeah.
it up to a great director.
It's a
to-
great word for it, organic. Like the
Yeah.
fact that they teamed up Banner and Stark in the first one. Apparently, I should really catch up on my comic reading, but apparently they don't really do that in the comics. Like, even though you think they would. Banner and Stark, they're not necessarily best buds in the comics, right?
No, but it makes sense. The two
Yeah,
scientists
it
that
does.
was
Yeah,
nerd
it
out.
does.
It's great.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in the comics, I guess more Reed Richards and Stark.
Essentially,
But, that's owned by Fox.
Joss Whedon, I mean, he's famous for making ensemble casts work, right? You take these characters and you give them each their moment in the sun. And what he said in an interview before the first Avengers even came out, he's like, well, why would these disparate gods come together to do anything? Like, their egos are so big, right? Well, you have to take each one, distill them into their various traits, and see what they have in common.
Exactly.
Like, how would they? Because they're not going to succeed unless they work together, right? But they're always going to be button heads. How does each character relate? I mean, who would have guessed that fucking Black Widow and the Hulk would have a love
oh my
story?
god, and what a beautiful love
The
story.
one thing
was.
that bothered me, and it's a minor thing, I enjoyed the movie quite a bit. It might be in my top 3 Marvel movie at this point, but one thing that bothered me is they didn't even reference Betty
No,
from
they
The Incredible
didn't.
Hulk. All they had to do is have Banner say to Black Widow, yeah, my last relationship didn't go
work
so well.
out.
And that's
Didn't
it.
even
That's it.
say.
Just a nod to that
It's
movie
in the
still canon.
45-minute longer cut.
There's
Probably,
a reason.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a reason for that.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
because
go for it.
the Hulk distribution is actually owned by Universal still.
Yeah, I heard there's like a weird rights thing there.
Okay.
They
That makes a
technically
lot of
cannot say most of the characters from the Hulk universe
Huh.
without
I believe that, yeah.
I honestly
Makes
think
sense.
But there was
They
that
just did
short,
that.
there was that Agent Coulson short where he convinced the other agent to go with Banner and not Blonsky.
there are
so they
Universal
did-
has given permission before, but there was something.
Oh,
They
man.
really it's a sort of similar to the Sony thing is that they had
So what
agreement.
might be going on is Marvel keeps going to Universal with scripts and they're turning them down. That could be happening.
That's
you know
what I
it's
think
really,
sucks.
this
I
is
haven't
really
been
Although-
frustrating.
Spiegel, believe me.
And maybe they gave up at this point. Maybe they're like, well, Universal stops working. We're just going to stop
Although,
working because
whatever. I'm telling you now
Well, when
that
they're
after
making up
watching
new
this movie
characters.
again, they're doing Planet Hulk.
See, I
I have a whole deal about that. I was completely expecting when he sat down and it showed that behind
Yep.
shot in the
Yep.
Quinjet, I was completely
how the
expecting it to
cartoon
start
starts.
to get darker outside and then them cut
Okay.
away. Instead of it didn't get darker because that's exactly how Planet Hulk starts.
I think
he just
Hulk
sits
movies-
down and goes into space.
a movie like that
We should
would be
watch that,
difficult. So,
It'd be
like,
all
I'm
CG.
sure Ruffalo would be down, but think about what that would mean for him.
Mm-hmm.
There would be motion capture, most definitely, but, like, it would be a really weird...
Because he's
It'd
the
be like
Hulk
Avatar.
most of the
Well,
time.
it'd be like Avatar in the sense that, like, everything you see on the screen at any given point is like some alien or creature or CGI motion capture. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy kind of hit a good balance.
Yeah.
It was probably
You can take
affordable.
away.
Like, you know, like being able to CG
Yeah.
everything would have been possible. And not that you would need to, but like, you know, to make more fantastical whatever. And there was only that one scene like in a bar or whatever where they kind of Star Wars Cantina style,
Yeah.
you know. But I'm going on a weird tangent now. Point is, be it really expensive, and Ruffalo would barely be
And
in
it'd
it.
it'd
And I
take
don't know.
you out of it. She's a big proponent of the Hulk, and it can work. I was
I would
thinking
love to see that
John
movie.
Carter. Have you ever watched the movie John Carter?
Wanted to.
It is alright. Despite whatever you might have heard about, it's a. She
a
was.
good movie.
She's not.
I
I
knew
thought it was fantastic.
I was fairly certain that I would
Conan
probably
in Space,
enjoy it.
man, is so good, and that's what they could do. Because Planet Hulk, I mean, it's a barren land, right?
Mhm.
And it's kind of a. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I don't necessarily... I shouldn't say a Planet Hulk movie. I think that they're going to do something more Hulk in space. And that's how they're going to use that to team up the Guardians and the Avengers later on when Thanos really comes to the forefront after Civil War.
Although, like, thinking about it, like, as much as I love the Hulk, he's so much more interesting when it's Banner's burden as well.
Yeah.
So, like, I want to, like, I just picture Hulk being there most of the time and busting ass, and I'm like, no, but I want to see Banner struggling with this too. Yeah. And it would be so weird if he had to struggle with aliens. Like, I want him to have humans and other people that he needs to, like, reintegrate with, or try to, or run away, or, you know, like, I want to see his story just as much as Hulk's. And what's great about that scene in the Quinjet is you can see the humanity in Hulk.
Yeah,
he just wants to be,
Well,
at the end of the day, he just wants to be left alone, right?
This was the first time I've ever seen Hulk utilized as a beautiful character.
As anything other than Smash, which obviously...
I actually prefer the Banner section. It's more than, the outright...
I just love the Hulk so much.
Yeah, he's as a character is great.
So the thing is you don't necessarily have to have him as the Hulk the whole time in the movie. He can wind up meeting Chris Pratt and... Yeah, something happens.
He organizes a slave humans somewhere or something like that. Like, you can have him not necessarily be the Hulk all the time. That would be what would be interesting, would be him thrust in this world where he's not the Hulk all the time. And something else is bigger than him. I watched a video the other day. It was everything wrong with The Incredible Hulk in 13 minutes or less.
I hate those videos so much.
And, like, I watched the movie and I'm like, I enjoyed the movie, but they're so right.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they're wrong.
The lineup of movies we have now has been a long time coming. I mean, people have been trying to do these movies forever, and it's not really worked until now.
It was pointed out that, like, a lot of people are thinking, like, when's the other shoe going to drop? Like, when's it going to... this will give out eventually, right? And it's like, yeah... It might. But here's the generation. But exactly. Here's the thing. By the time Infinity War is done, they're going to be like kids who grew up with this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's the thing. There was a time when comics weren't just superheroes either.
No.
Now, I'm not saying I want Hollywood to just become superheroes. That would be sad at the end of the day. Yeah. But it could be enough momentum to just kind of keep going.
Well, you know what I love about the whole culture that's coming out, especially in the television movie world, is that we are seeing beautiful television written by people of like minds because they've been in the same, they grew up with the same shit we did. Mm-hmm. They're really smart, they have a vision, and they're making really good stories.
And they're allowed to make their vision.
They're allowed to make their vision. They can create characters. Yeah. Who fucking cares? Whatever's possible, I mean, anything's possible, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think artists like that have always had visions, but it's just a question of whether or not they got the funding or were allowed to.
Yeah,
I mean,
I want to go back to one of the trailers that we saw in 3D, which I personally think is what will be one of the best 3D movies you can see, was Pixel. I was really happy to see that in 3D, actually.
I feel like the only way you mentioned it is like that's the only way to see that movie. You wouldn't want to see that movie on TV.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I'm not interested in paying money to see that movie.
Oh, I will pay money to see that. It'd be like you're in a video game. Come on, like all the
you won't pay money to see Terminator.
Yeah,
it's no worse than Terminator.
I don't love Adam Sandler, and I don't love that he stole his premise from Futurama wholesale. Like. I was surprised to see Pac-Man's creator in the trailer. That was hilarious and almost made me want to see it, I'll admit. Mm-hmm. But I'm probably not going to see it. Also, I don't like paying money for comedies, to be honest. So,
Well, I think if your only option to see it as good as it can be is in 3D, why not?
I'll definitely watch it on TV at some point, but it's not going to be something...
Okay, fine, guys.
If we're hanging out months from now... If we're hanging out months from now and you guys are putting on, I'll
watch it. The 3D TV at the store.
Oh, maybe. Shit.
Now, I wanted to talk about this. We were planning a podcast a few weeks ago, and I didn't get to talk. We didn't do it after all. But this is so the Fantastic Four trailer came out. The first teaser came out at the time.
Yeah.
Not the full trailer. And whatever you think of the trailer, it is regardless. It doesn't matter to the subject. In a world where every movie is based off a comic or superhero property,
almost, it seems, yeah.
And eventually that might happen. I don't know. But in a world where most of those movies are all based off of these things, it's like, at what point does it stop being a superhero movie and just start being like Fantastic Four was originally presented. It seemed like as kind of like a science adventure. Mm-hmm. And they happen to have powers.
Yeah,
and that was awesome
you do
to
the
me.
smaller stories.
Yeah, you take this and it's not a superhero movie anymore. It's a drama. It's a thriller.
It seemed a lot like this will sound really out there, but the tone and the lighting and everything about the movie it looked like sci-fi horror and it reminded me a lot of Alien.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like as visceral as Alien. But,
I wish.
But I know, right? Personally, I struggle to find more boring heroes to me than the Fantastic Four. So like, it looks well done. Mm-hmm. I can't. I'm just not interested.
I'm interested to see what they do with it because I love.
It's like nothing but good
Did you watch Chronicle?
No.
It's easy to skip because it is
made
found
by the
footage.
Landis kid, right?
Well, he wrote it. Max Landis wrote it, and Josh Trank, who did Fantastic Four,
I heard very good things.
It.
Speaking of Josh Trank, for one second, speaking of Josh Trank, he recently dropped out of the new Star Wars movie.
I saw that.
Yeah, but they haven't even announced what it was. I don't even care.
He's kind of a prima donna.
They said second Star Wars.
I know. I was
whatever. Like they didn't even say the title. How do I care about that?
People leave projects all the time.
Yeah. I don't want to say shit.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we were talking about the look, but I was saying that like it's no longer a subgenre in that it's just a type of film that's coming out. So they need to, and what they're smart to do it. They need to stop depending on the superhero tropes and just start making good films, and which is what Marvel is doing, and they're growing off of each other. But it excites me to see a movie like Fantastic Four marketed the way it currently is, because it does, I don't know, it looks different to me. It looks interesting. It doesn't look like the Jessica Alba Fantastic Four.
Well, to go back on to that a little bit, I would almost argue that it's not the superhero genre. It's become a genre now. Mm-hmm. Okay, and it will wax and wane, and it'll become a little unpopular, but they won't stop making movies, and it'll surge again after a few years.
It'll be like the Western.
It'll be just like comic books. Mm-hmm. Comic books have done the same thing, the whole industry.
Yeah, well, why do you think there's so many comic books out now?
And so really, ultimately, at the end of the day, all we're going to wind up seeing is some sort of mini dark period. Probably at some point after we get to Thanos, but again, that's not for another 15 years, probably.
We're going to see.
How long do they have to
even then, the dark period will not be horrible because we will have blueprints for already such a master.
What is it that they say? It's a Marvel movie. It's like pizza. Even bad pizza is still pizza,
right?
Even a bad Marvel film is still a Marvel film, and it's still going to be better than your average anything
it's like
else.
Pixar, it's true. Yeah.
It's like Iron Man 2 entertained me. Was it a great film? No.
Speaking of Pixar, Inside Out looks like it's going to be the best.
Absolutely, by far.
I'm excited.
Wow.
Polar, man, we are
very
huge
excited.
Parks
Even
and
if we
Rec
don't
fans.
have kids that weekend, we're still going to go see the fucking
movie.
movie.
I'd prefer. They're not going to get it anyways. They want to see every animated movie.
Good Dinosaur's coming out this year too.
You know
Pixar's
what?
Next movie.
So Good Dinosaur has a release date, and it's gotten pushed a little bit, but they had so much drama. They haven't even made that yet?
So did Inside Out. Inside Out, the reason it's coming out this year, not last year. Remember, there was no Pixar movie last year.
Oh yeah, they had planes.
Because of Inside Out being
That's why they bumped planes.
So Pixar is pretty notorious for, if a story isn't working under their standards, they kick out the old director.
Hey, that's great.
I can't wait to see Good Dinosaur.
That happened to Ratatouille. Brad Bird had to come in and save it. That happened to Brave.
So they're all about the quality.
I heard about Brave.
Period.
Brave was a shame. I think Brave was actually pretty good.
Excuse me again. Yeah. Speaking of Pixar and Brad Bird, did they announce an Incredibles 2? Did I read that correctly?
Brad Bird is apparently very notoriously his vision, stubborn, I guess is the word. Yeah. So it was all dependent when he wanted to make
star, right?
No, I'm not.
You should know.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorite creators ever, George Lucas. Even though I hate him too, is he's stubborn.
Yeah. He does what he does. And whatever, and that's how we get Jar Jar.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
That's how we get Jar Jar.
A single tear rolls down my cheek. What was I saying? Shit. What was I talking about? Oh, Brad Bird. Apparently
He's
Yeah.
So he's yeah. So,
And so it's dependent on him wanting to make a sequel.
I
Basically,
just
that's what I was
hadn't heard. I haven't even seen anything beyond the initial like one sheet promotional that they showed at Comic-Con.
Yeah, there's nothing.
There's
I
like.
think.
It just seems
So
weird.
they probably have a script. Well, they might have. A script
I guess animation's different though because it doesn't get like it's not really showable until the final stages. Anyways, it's not like a movie where you could show.
That's changing every day. They have RenderMan, I think it is. It's just getting better and better. And like, well, it's RenderMan or not? Just rendering. I act like I know a lot about animation, but I really don't.
I know the word rendering.
Yeah, it's getting better with like you can have more workable, viewable scenes earlier. Like the lighting won't be there and the textures won't be there, but the movement is still there.
Yeah, but it's still not something you'd want to show. In a
you
trailer.
can get that done pretty quickly. But not in a trailer. You're right.
You can shoot. The first. You could shoot the first scene of pretty much any Marvel movie, and then add in CG to that specific scene, and then shove it out on Comic-Con or on a teaser trailer.
That's what they do with trailers. Did you notice?
It's way easier. I guess. It makes sense why I haven't seen good
Guardians of the Galaxy. There was a shot that kept getting better and better with each trailer because they're working
a lot of shots actually.
Yeah.
The Avengers had that even at one of the final trailers. They had shown the scene in every other trailer. The scene where they're all standing around the thing, the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
And they're all fighting. Well, in the final trailer, the final TV spot.
Mm-hmm.
You see Vision standing back there, and he wasn't in any of the other ones, but he's in this one. And, so
and that was actually just timed because they wanted to keep Vision secret as long as possible.
Yeah. And they did a good job of it.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I mean, I knew about it a while ago, but it's still like as far as the people who don't necessarily.
As far back as Iron Man 3, I think they were it was a thing. I remember reading like a theory.
Yeah, well, I mean, people theorize that they bring back Coulson in this Vision. That was a thing. It's kind of a dumb idea, but that was a thing.
Maybe. Yeah.
In fact, I saw the 13-hour, whatever it was,
the
first
pudgiest Vision ever.
Yeah, right. So I saw Avengers opening night, the first one, and when Coulson died, some guy in the back row yelled, "Don't worry, he'll come back as Vision." And then, the next weeks, I was seeing that theory over and over again. So again, it's really silly and didn't go that way, but it's kind of interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Coulson was supposed. He ends up. They used Inhuman technology, technology from the Inhumans, whatever the aliens, to bring him back. So but he didn't end up actually becoming anything but Agent Coulson. So
I was almost expecting to see a cameo.
Apparently Joss Whedon was very adamant about not doing that.
Yeah,
and you had said that.
Yeah, I hear that Whedon, not that he's mad about it or whatever, but that's not part of his story, right?
No,
because he says that a death should have impact in every Whedon project. Like, he kills somebody you fucking love. And,
he's like George R. R. Martin Light,
And that's, they refer to his death in Avengers 2, and, which I thought was kind of... They don't actually ever say Coulson, but they do refer to his death, and it wouldn't make sense if they knew he was alive.
What I didn't like was... My only complaint about Avengers 2 was I wish that they had actually killed off a prominent
Avenger. Not introduced the character and then killed them. I thought for sure, I said it halfway through the movie, Hawkeye's gonna die.
Yeah, because he's got 12 weeks to retirement and
Hawkeye's gonna die.
So I went through so many different predictions with this film leading up to it before I finally...
You basically thought everyone was on the death list at one point or another.
At one point...
Except Hulk. Yeah, except Hulk, because you can't kill Hulk, period.
But my final prediction I made was it's either going to be Thor or it's going to be Quicksilver. And I made the prediction because I read that that they had him only signed to one film. If I hadn't read that, I would have never seen his death coming. But
and you had to share it with me, so I saw it coming.
Yeah,
because I didn't believe him. I was like, "That's not a spoiler. That's not gonna fucking."
Yeah.
I didn't know he was actually scheduled to die, and I think it would have had more impact for him.
I have this is pretty conspiracy theory, but you bear with me. So I noticed that, in the X-Men universe, Quicksilver exists, and Scarlet Witch doesn't appear too. Mm-hmm. He had that little sister, and I had forgotten they were twins. So I thought
said that it wasn't, but it's like
either way.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not confirmed.
Been.
It's not confirmed. Yeah. So as far as what's confirmed, Quicksilver in the X-Men universe, but no Scarlet Witch. And now in the Marvel Studios universe, MCU, it's Scarlet Witch, but no Quicksilver. My crazy conspiracy theory. No, my crazy conspiracy theory is So Sony comes crawling back to Marvel, or Disney, I guess, and Disney says, "Oh yeah, sure, we'll work together. We'll save you guys. Don't worry. Yeah, Spider-Man can be in Avengers 3 or whatever."
Right.
And they get some revenue, whatever. And then they're getting buddy-buddy with Fox. Like, "Hey guys, you want to release the digital Star Wars? By the way, we're working with Sony over here, and they're having.
You want to get into the sweet Marvel cash?
You guys can have your own movies. That's fine. Yeah, do whatever you want. We'll just bring over some stuff. And then, but they have the pieces there to like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch,
so
and you
they're
can have
slowly kind of like, come on,
yeah, maybe. Now I don't know if those two
come on,
characters.
you know you want Wolverine and Avengers,
yeah, exactly.
right? Come on.
Now again, it's crazy conspiracy theory, and Quicksilver was probably scheduled to die long before Sony came crawling to Marvel, so it doesn't really work. But I wonder if that might end up being the case anyway. Like, there's those holes in each respective universe. So, I mean,
they could totally start crossing. Like, they could do, and you know how much money they would be. Not only would they not have to pay all the writers and everything, all this stuff that Marvel's doing, they literally just reap the benefits by like saying, "Okay, yeah, you can do the movie. We'll keep like a merchandising rights, whatever."
Disney always wins in the end, unfortunately.
Disney, Disney. That's what I'm saying. Is like, Star Wars is going to be the biggest movie ever. It's even going to overshadow Avengers. Wait,
why
they're
does it
both
matter?
the same company.
Yeah, it really
Of
doesn't
course.
matter.
It's so crazy because like every shred of like how I feel about that sort of thing says that Disney shouldn't be allowed to do that.
But they're doing it right.
I've always been a Disney fan,
And
so
they
I'm
do
just
include
whatever.
other people.
There's
it's not like
controversy,
they're,
but they still respect their artists.
Yeah, it's that fine line with the corporation thing.
Yeah.
Like,
It's funny, like about a year ago. Oh, go ahead.
Before we get, remember that thought though. Keep it repeating. The Quicksilver thing. I wasn't like they had that scene in X-Men Days of Future Past that was essentially like everybody's like, oh wow, you know, it circled the room. And they're like, oh, let's see what Marvel does, how they're going to do it. And everybody's like, oh, he doesn't look nearly as interesting. Because, he's an Eastern European dude. Yeah. That's what they look like.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
but
he's not. I mean, the actor is whoever. But
did several, not nearly as focused, but damn good shots of him, like, doing his thing. Especially when he grabs the fucking hammer. Don't even get me started on that.
Oh, my gosh.
I think they actually did it better than Days of Future Past.
I should mention that, like, I don't think the Days of Future Past Quicksilver would gel very well with the Marvel Scarlet Witch. Like, that'd be kind of weird. But I just want to add that to my That's all. Like, I actually think it'd be kind of a terrible idea, but I do wonder. That's all.
That one, like, he's not built. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know about. Like, I'm watching that. I kind of forget. Like, I was like, oh, I hope they do it better.
Also, you know, like present day, he'd be like in his 50s or 60s, or like
it was, because that took place in the
70s, and he was like a teenager. So maybe he was born 1960-ish. So
I doubt that once they do start, like they'll pull the Spider-Man in that the previous Spider-Man movies are not. They're not anything to the Marvel.
But they won't do another origin because they know that people are tired of it. Batman '89 was an origin story, and people love that.
An X-Men movie where it just starts out and they're the fucking X-Men, but Marvel's doing it, and just do that.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
exactly.
So never mind.
No, I wasn't actually. I had nothing. I just said I don't know.
No, I don't want to go with what I was going to say. So
You're thinking.
What I was going to say earlier, it's a lot less relevant now, so maybe you'll edit this out, I don't know. But about a year or so ago, there was rumors that Disney was going to buy Hasbro as well. But,
really?
It didn't. It either was false or fell through. But
I don't know, like G.I. Joe, Transformers.
I want Transformers, Disney Infinity. Please.
Oh my God.
I just want Michael.
Disney Infinity.
I just want Michael.
I'm gonna pull the trigger when they release the Star Wars one. They announced
Transformers.
Yeah.
What?
Well, it's Disney Infinity 3.0. A German website leaked it, and you can tell by the images someone would have had to spend a long time making these. Yeah, it comes with Anakin, Ahsoka, which I want just for Ahsoka to be honest, and like some sort of like weird clear one that looks like the Jedi symbol. I don't know what it does or means.
It's Ghost Obi-Wan.
No, just the Jedi symbol. So maybe like it lights up or something.
Oh no, that's the set. That's the play set that you go to.
Oh, maybe
yeah. That's what all the clear ones are. Whatever.
So maybe it's the Jedi
you swap
temple.
in Guardians of the Galaxy. You swap in New York for the Avengers.
All I did, I got really heavy into Skylanders, and I got all of but like the first one. We got all but like the last 3 of them. There was a crab-shaped one.
I thought that was
$50 on eBay.
I thought that was the most ridiculous trend when I saw that stuff. When I first saw it, well, now I know. You know, Jesus.
Everyone is anybody's
ridiculous.
I'm sure Hasbro's going to make their own too. By the
it's
way,
like free-to-play games. It's insane.
It'd be great if the next Pokemon was just 100% Amiibo.
I wouldn't be so
I would go
sold
broke.
if they didn't look like this.
I know! The art style's amazing!
It's so fucking
Holy
cool!
shit!
And it's just great to have them. And
They made a Yondu one. I was like, that was like my favorite obscure character.
Yeah.
And they totally said, sure, you can get a Yondu.
And he's all in the
Yeah.
same style, and
Yeah.
they just do. I love it.
And there's so many Disney characters I love. Like, I want to get like Jack Skellington and Penelope.
We have
just like
Jack
pick and choose.
We have
Like,
Penelope.
I know.
We have Jack Skellington too.
And yeah.
So that's why I want
We have
my
so
entryway
many.
is going to be the Star Wars one, and I'll probably buy some of the previous ones that I really wanted. And,
Oh, the Star Wars
We
one.
probably
Rose on
played
the
it more than the
Right.
kids have,
I
honestly.
have Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love this art style so much.
And
Carnage.
you feel this, the actual construction of those characters is fantastic. They're not toys.
Yeah.
But they are
Well,
like
it's like,
figures.
what are they, $15 a pop? They better be this
They're,
good.
they're like
Ranges.
12, but
Wow.
We usually
they go
do
on sale all
sale
the
stuff.
time.
Yeah, they do
they're
Because, like, you're not
$12.
spending any money on articulation, so this is just sculpting
No.
and painting. So
Yeah.
that's
No, it is
you know.
the
And then
most
this tech
devious
is-
form of DLC known to man.
Yeah, definitely.
But then,
Well,
whatever.
it is what it is. I mean, it's awesome. I like it.
Yeah, and the fact that Disney owns Star Wars and is able to see, that's what I was saying. It's like, watch, next they're gonna have they're gonna come out with Star Wars.
Everyone
edition.
knew
And
that.
then you
Everyone
just-
saw that coming.
So
because
it's specifically
you looked at
3.0
release dates
is
and you were
Star
like,
Wars,
oh, Force Awakens is coming out. Oh, of course they're going to have, like, every year. And,
oh my god,
you know,
I want space flight.
Probably, I don't know.
Oh my god, that would be so great to build, because the toy box is fantastic.
One thing that made me sad, though, I heard they're going to be making Tron characters, but they don't make figures for them. They're going to be just in the packs. Like
Well, they have Tron stuff, but they don't in the game.
Yeah,
But
why
they don't
no
have
Tron
any figures. Yeah, I don't know. I love Tron.
But you know what though? They
Tron,
announced
please come out.
they announced the third one. So in
Yeah.
a few years, if Disney Infinity is still going,
But
they'll
did
probably
you
do it then.
notice? Now, Tron Legacy was supposed to be the beginning of a trilogy. They were
They
Tron
might
was
still be
supposed-
doing that.
But
maybe.
now they're saying that this is specifically Tron 3, so it's not like the third and the
well,
second.
it's the
trilogy.
Star Trek movie thing where the trilogy is 2, 3, and 4. So
why do they ever like? I love that fucking movie. I hate it.
I thought the
Everybody
first
on
one
the
was better,
internet.
but,
I
like-
hate you who don't like Tron Legacy.
who doesn't like Tron Legacy?
Lots of
Right?
people.
Really?
It gets lots.
What did you
of
think of Scarjo's
Oh, what is that?
costume? I thought.
Oh
it
yeah,
was
that's very
Tron.
Tron inspired.
Yeah.
There was a show where he was like, I don't waste my time, or I don't waste my life anymore. I saw Tron Legacy once, and ever since then, I've vowed to never waste my time.
Was that Big Bang Theory?
I don't know.
Sound
I don't
that
have a
sounds
problem with that show, by the way.
identical
I-
to Big Bang Theory.
That you know what it was? It was. I think it was. Penny.
I've never seen a single episode of Big Bang Theory, and I just figured that.
That's funny. I think it was from that. But
That's funny.
they make tons of jokes, and I don't know. I love Jeff Bridges as Jesus. It's cool.
You hate the Bang Bang?
I
Because
try
it's
not to
cliche.
hate things people love, but there are plenty of things I don't care for. and it's
You know, it's not the best show. It's got heart though, you know, and they try. I can respect it for that. I think the acting is way subpar.
Now I know you're up to episode 5. Have you watched any of Daredevil?
I watched 2 episodes.
We marathoned it.
Well, pretty much.
I take it you weren't like obsessed with it or anything.
No, I didn't
I
hate
can't
it.
believe
It took a good 10 minutes before I was like, I won't turn this off. Because I seem to recall like his friend character was really grating at first, and I did not care for it. But he grew on me.
Well, Foggy's
so,
always been like he was Jon Favreau in the Fox version with Ben
so
Affleck.
same character he played in Iron Man, then basically
Yeah.
in a weird way. Yeah.
It's just Jon Favreau. Yeah, it's the same character he plays in Swingers.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
pretty
wow.
much.
Okay.
Well, I mean, maybe
Is he a
a little-
director first and an actor second? Is that why? Or
No, he's an actor first and a director
Oh.
second, and that's why he cameos because he still acts.
Hmm.
And he started his own movie Chef. But Jon Favreau played that character, and it was almost the same. It's always kind of like that.
I would much prefer him in that role. Not
Something
that he
there
should,
is
you know.
considerable character development that I did not expect them to do later on in the season. They did it well. Like I didn't expect it at all because in the comics, everything I've ever read, like I've read the Frank Miller, The Man Without Fear, and then another run in trade form, and he's always kind of like the bumbling character and everything, but they really fleshed him out. Like they kind of updated him to not be waste of story.
Mm-hmm.
He's not grating later on. You actually enjoy him. There's another.
Oh yeah, no,
character-
even I saw
There's
that.
another character that never really gets better, but
Whatever.
I'm not going to bother with explaining that.
They're trying, like I
But the
said.
show is fantastic.
Yeah. And
How would you compare it to say
Don't
Arrow.
say Shield. Okay, Arrow. Comparing it to Arrow, I would.
Oh my God.
The show is beautiful. There's this weird thing about Netflix shows, and somebody pointed it out in a blog, and ever since then I haven't been able to get out of my head. Is that because they have this fixed, like they make the season, the full season, all at once. They release it all at once. And so they can take their time on things. So it's like they kind of linger a little too long on a shot or something. And because they can't. Because they're like, yes, we have a full hour, no commercials. We can do that. And so it's kind of weird. They have this weird quality. And they swear.
Yeah, true. That's
bizarre.
The scene, the hallway of like the second episode, I thought did like the cameraman like pass out? Like, what the fuck are they doing?
Is it the one where they're
it was.
Well, it's to show
shot.
how tired he got. I liked that because he got physically.
As an action scene, it was laughable. But I know what they were trying to do, but I don't think it worked even.
Here's my thing about Daredevil and Arrow to an extent. Whoever's doing the cinematography on that is filming it in too dark of a setting where it just looks like pitch black to me.
Yeah.
I would like...
Change settings on your TV.
I have.
It looks pretty good on my TV, I have to admit.
It's pretty good on my computer, I don't know.
I've looked at it on both, and it looks like I'm looking into dark.
There is a lot of... Especially lately with the Ra's al Ghul stuff, it's been very, very fucking dark.
Ra's al Ghul?
And that's by design, because they're trying to make it like Batman.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Ra's al Arrow.
To be...
No, Ra's al Ghul is Arrow now. Like, Arrow is fucking Ra's al Ghul now. I'll let you try and figure that one out on your own.
That's the most DC-ass storyline I've ever heard. I love it.
They're like, hey, we can't show Batman.
But that's what I love about the DC TV universe is that Arrow and The Flash, it feels like really reading a comic book. Mm-hmm. Okay? Again, my only problem with both Arrow and Daredevil is it feels a little too dark. But Flash, I love that show. That's
my God. So good.
That's my favorite show probably right now ever. I mean, they have blown it out of the park with every episode.
Absolutely. And they keep getting better, like you said.
I still stick with Person of Interest.
Whatever.
I'm not going to talk about it.
Nobody knows what that is. So it's on the old people station.
Well, that's because
CBS won't cancel anything, so that's okay. They can keep it on the old people station if they don't cancel it.
Right.
Jonathan Nolan's brothers, my God.
Coming from the station that brought you NCIS
hey,
25.
No, I watched that. Shut up.
I would take a movie, or I would take a Netflix Daredevil quality Netflix series of pretty much any superhero over a 2-hour film at this point, because like I know it's not quite there, but the quality it's like watching a 13-hour movie now. And I like that. I like that. I would watch a movie before and be like, when does that world continue? Now they make a tie-in comic to every property ever. Yeah. So it's okay. I can read my Millennium comic based on Millennium from 1997.
I think you touched on it briefly, Kevin. Like, it's like, do you think that's ever going to get old? Like, the whole universe...
What?
I don't know, like the whole culture that's happening right now.
The whole superhero culture.
The whole superhero culture.
Well, it's happening because of us.
I would almost call it a wider culture of continuity.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Like every single everywhere is beholden to this concept of really stringent continuity. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's a bad thing necessarily. Mm-hmm. Because even when they retcon stuff, they still want to start a new continuity. Like even Transformers, who late 90s, early aughts, they were rotating out continuities almost every 5 years or every 3 years or so.
Every series.
And then it was really ham-fisted attempt, but they're attempting to combine the various universes they have now and say, it's all one continuity.
Yeah, it's just different versions.
They did a really shitty job of it, but the effort is there. It's the aligned continuity. Like, they realize that, that's what people want. They want, this one universe, and which makes everything very serialized and exciting in that respect. I actually kind of like that. Maybe I'll get old.
They're straight up copying the other two's big event, the big summer event for Marvel and DC. Mm-hmm. Are there now? Marvel, I think, is more permanent, but
because they want to basically
event,
merge.
But they're both of them at the same time merging all of their continuities, everything into these two crazy stories, and so maybe that's what they're trying to do with Transformers. Now IDW does Transformers in comic.
Well,
right?
the comics they do for the comics right now. I don't know what continuity it is. I think it's still its own continuity. So,
I've never been familiar with the continuity anyway of Transformers.
IDW is a weird one, but the IDW is big. Yeah, it's definitely its own continuity.
They make my Millennium and my RoboCop, so they have a lot of properties.
IDW is just really good at taking other people's IPs and making great stories. I mean, and I'm fine with that. That's
the Lone Ranger.
It's like official fan fiction.
Dynamite.
Yeah, basically.
Dynamite.
Sanctioned fan fiction.
With going to Kristen's point, now at what point does maybe it won't wane because pop culture becomes culture over time.
Yes. But it does
but
get outdated.
But I think of my dad's generation was super into westerns, and he was too. And I find cowboys and deserts and tumbleweeds.
Not as
I'm just the most boring. I couldn't even get to.
I hate old westerns. I like new westerns.
I hate old westerns.
Django Unchained.
But if a western has an interesting story or they do it in an interesting way, I like a western. But if it's just a boring old Gene Autry or John Wayne western.
Talk about westerns.
Again,
they bore the needed.
I'm just saying that I enjoy them.
And I'm sorry to any listeners who are big western
That was not
fans
his
and
point.
are typing out their angry email right now, but it's nothing.
I wish we had that many listeners. God.
No, they'll listen. When we get a bunch of listeners, they'll edit this part out. They'll get a bunch of they'll go back and listen to the.
I don't edit anything.
Anyway, what I was gonna say was, westerns became out of fashion. Now, they've had small resurgence or whatever, but. My main argument is most kids don't want to be into what their parents are into.
Right.
So I don't know if it'll keep going. Some do, by the way. That's fine. But whenever I see pictures of Whovians dressing their 2-year-old up as a doctor, or not 2, but their infant kid as the doctor, or C-3PO or whatever,
Right.
I always think I hate the comment parenting done right. Because I'm remember all the stuff your dad was into that you thought was really cool too? They're going to hate that shit if you especially if you voice it on them. Now, if they're getting into it themselves, they're 5 or 6, I don't care.
I have the counterpoint. You were going to...
Well, I was just going to say, speaking from the perspective of seeing
We
Chloe,
have children.
grow up, especially Chloe, who is a very talented artist, and she's
cool.
turning out to be a very unique individual, which is awesome. What I see as a benefit happening from this, not necessarily is it going to last forever or whatever, but our kids are seeing a confidence level and being told that it's okay to be themselves more than ever before.
Oh,
now.
yeah. That's
and they're going to grow up to be amazing
Word.
people. And,
Loud
whatever
and proud
comes out of
nerds.
this, it's
So
going
she
to
can be loud
good,
and proud whatever she is, and she wants to be a goddamn fox. Literally, she wants to be a fox.
She's created her own characters.
She wants to be she would be a pony. Literally, I'm not speaking metaphorically. She would literally be a pony if she could.
With human features.
Until I showed her the scientifically accurate My Little Pony. But it's not so much they're.
There's a reason they simplified the horses.
Chloe doesn't watch Doctor Who. The boys go off and do their own thing all the time. We'll sit and be please watch this with us, and they'll lose interest. Go away. Chloe, who's my daughter, she's 10. She loves Doctor Who not because we love it. But because it's
true.
Awesome.
And I don't want to imply that anything parents and kids share
are putting out the quality of stuff.
But
it's just stuff that people will like, not nerdy stuff that people will like.
They're not going to like this.
I also agree with Kevin that the kids are going to throw away what their parents
it's not going to
like.
be the same culture.
But in a lot of ways,
building up on it.
In a lot of ways, for example, a lot of the things that I grew up watching with my uncle that I didn't necessarily care for, then I now watch and can say, I can appreciate it for what it was. And for a matter of fact, it's I'm trying to think of a movie that's off the top of my head that could be that way, but
Don't say Blazing Saddles.
No, I was actually thinking, honestly, Lost in Space, although that's kind of a bad old example.
Oh, the show, yeah.
The show and the movie. When they remade the movie, it's one of those, my first viewings, I loved the movie. When I watched it again at home, I was like, holy shit, how could I have actually liked that movie?
I own that movie on DVD.
Yeah.
It's like all the Nicolas Cage movies.
But my uncle, when we were walking out
1992
of the theater, my uncle, who loved the TV show and I hated,
in Space was 97, I thought.
I was
My uncle,
pay attention
my
to what
uncle
I
was walking out of the theater and he goes, "That was
Scotty.
the worst piece of garbage I ever saw."
Yeah.
You know, but nowadays I can go back and I can watch the
were
TV
you a
show.
Kid then?
I was a kid then, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nowadays, though, I go back. Now back, I go back
They had
when I was
CG in that movie.
when I was a
That's why I
kid.
bought
I
it,
didn't
man.
like the Lost. I didn't like the Lost in Space
You know what?
TV show.
Yeah.
It's almost
My
Now that I'm an
new
adult,
Star Wars,
and
the
I've
newer
watched some of
Star
those
Wars
episodes,
movies,
I'm like,
not
this
this
is
one that's coming
genius.
Actually,
This is a drug-infused, awesome, crazy 60s thing. I'm against the cartoons nowadays doing it, but I love when a 60s TV show has that drug
They're
reference
bringing
stuff.
back Red Dwarf.
And so
that's gonna be weird.
I
Isn't it?
love.
I mean,
I have
and
something
maybe in a good
to
way.
say.
So weird.
Yeah.
Batman
Okay, guys.
66. Oh, sorry.
We gotta rein it in. We gotta change
Okay.
the conversation here.
Okay.
It goes. I can
No,
also
come on,
use.
talk over
I can also use Batman 66 as a perfect example. 10 years ago, I hated Batman 66 because it wasn't Batman.
Now you can appreciate it. for
Now
what
I
it
can
was.
appreciate it for exactly what it was,
Right.
and I would like to see a little
Product
bit
of
more
its
of that
time.
camp. I don't want to see it go complete camp again, but I would like to see some of that camp mixed in with it.
Have you seen the Yahoo now has their own? They took over Community. As you
Yes,
might
I've been
know.
watching it.
Other Space. Have you checked that one
I
out
haven't
yet?
checked it out yet.
I highly suggest it.
I didn't
It
wanna
is
like
a
it.
modern day Red Dwarf, and it's
It
hilarious.
really is filmed the same way. It
They're great.
reminded me of how they filmed Mystery Science Theater, the
Yeah.
live action sequences.
Yeah,
That's what, and I
that's
didn't want to
what
like
it
it.
is. It's very low budget. You can tell, but
But it's
done
on
well.
purpose.
It's high quality,
Yeah.
you know, and great characters, great actors. It's just hilarious. Great writing.
Very red dwarf.
I'll have to check it out. I mean, I'm going to be down for 2 months after my surgery in May, so
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of.
when that happens, I'll pretty much
Yeah,
probably
I
be
really
watching
do
and reading a
highly
lot of different
suggest
stuff.
it. And I'm loving, like, Yahoo of all companies bringing out these funny ass shows. Like, Community is weirder than it's ever been before. But I think it's funny as hell.
The only problem is I don't think that we're going to be getting another season of Community.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's on its last run.
It's
and
on.
it's respectable, though, you know?
We
They've had a really good run.
we will actually get a 90-minute movie
This will go.
after they complete the season.
Wouldn't it be great if they... Did you see the last episode, this last Tuesday, a Bet's movie?
Yeah.
I want to see a full version of that movie.
Okay, no, what's going to wind up happening is the movie should be something about where they find Troy, who was lost at sea, and they decide to make a movie.
Troy's gotta come back.
They're going to make a movie based on Troy's experience lost at sea. And then the entire movie is him going on some
Bravo.
random Odysseus venture where they incorporate all the different characters. That way they can
That
bring
would be
Pierce back too.
great. That would
The
be
only
awesome.
TV I watch is cartoons and Game of Thrones. So
You
this
don't-
is like
you
completely
don't know
alien to me.
Community?
You would love to.
You
I
would
want. I
love
didn't mean to
Community.
watch it, but there's all so many
He got
cartoons
me
that
into
are higher
it.
on my
I
list, so.
refused to watch
I'm
it
still
for the
12 years
longest
old, so.
time, but
It's a 12-year-old TV show.
it really is.
Yeah,
it
for
fucking,
12-year-olds,
It
yeah.
reminds me of school, like any level of
show you
school.
said?
Community.
Oh,
Like-
it's not 12 years old, is it?
No, for
Oh, it's 4 or 12 years old. Okay,
12-year-olds
fair
apart.
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's for the 12-year-olds at heart, anyway.
It was weird. This new the new season. I only have one thing to say about the new season, really, because I do enjoy it. It's weird because on NBC it was a TV. It was filmed as a TV show, and when they made the switch to Yahoo, it took on a more right. Yahoo was making
well-
TV shows.
I think we just
it
talked
took
about
on a more
this. It feels like
cinematic.
deja vu.
What about the cinematic
No,
approach that they're taking to how they film it?
No, go ahead.
That's fine.
Go ahead. We
Oh
were
yeah, no,
talking-
you guys were talking about the Yahoo thing.
Yeah.
But they really, it's like a higher quality of how they film, and it's weird because it's the same. It feels more different, the comedy, than it actually is.
Yeah.
It's just filmed differently. Yeah, it's just weird.
I like
was
it.
a weird
I
scene,
really
yeah.
like what they're doing. I think it's awesome. It's free TV, and they're doing a fantastic job. Like, who would have thought?
I don't know.
They found their niche.
Is it free?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yahoo,
Okay.
yeah, it's free.
That makes sense.
You can watch it online anytime.
Ad revenue, yeah. I mean, we watched it on Apple
definitely.
TV. now,
It's
so.
it's in all honesty, Yahoo's new structure is going to, in the same way that HBO's for iPhone, it's going to change the structure of TV.
It already has.
It's
Oh,
what
yeah.
we've been waiting
HBO
for.
finally broke down and offered
We were
now.
just talking
Yeah.
about how it's not about TV stations anymore. It's like Yahoo and fucking Netflix and Hulu. They are the new TV stations.
What's either going to happen is cable is going to be forced to start doing the a la carte option everyone wants, which is like 3 channels for however many you want. Or channels are going to start slowly offering their own stuff, and like maybe Comedy Central. Has a
Cable
paid
will
service.
be non-existent.
Well, CBS
And
just
then
put
cable
out a paid
crumbled,
app.
basically. Yeah.
CBS put it, and that's the only way you can watch their content online.
And yeah, it'll either go that route, or like I said,
Just
like
like
cable
HBO.
companies will
It's like,
save
do you think you're
themselves and
HBO?
start giving people what they want. Because
Mhm.
nobody, like when I had cable, I watched Cartoon Network, Comedy Central, and sometimes Nickelodeon, and that's it.
And you're paying $200 a month for that.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
why we
that's
refuse to get
Nope.
cable.
ridiculous.
I refuse too, and
Yeah.
like not to be super like, oh, you're gonna
Well,
cut
they
the cord,
have
but
it-
like it's so expensive
No, you
for what
have
you use.
to,
I
and
mean,
they
Well,
have
that's
a
what-
monopoly on it,
that's-
and they have had the monopoly on it for so long.
It's also what led to piracy becoming so popular in the last
and
15
things-
years.
and they're recognizing that Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, Yahoo, all these places are recognizing that, and they know it, and so they're going to reinvent the industry.
The future
Which
is
is
now.
No, I am.
This is MediaNet.
mm-hmm.
You know, that's what it is. It's like we don't have cable. We don't care about cable.
I've not cared about cable.
We actually had to switch internet providers recently. We're switching from CenturyLink to the devil. I mean Comcast.
Mm.
But and then we're going to switch later on in the year once Nextlight comes up. But they wouldn't let me renew for my current price or whatever unless I bundled in cable.
Mm.
And I threatened to leave, and they were like, "Oh, there's nothing we can do." And so I was like, "All right." And so I scheduled my cancel. I'm like, "Really,
Yeah.
really?
Mm.
And you can't just give me the price that I've had,
And you
for
can just
2
double
years now?"
somebody's price.
Yeah.
You know, that's what
It's,
pisses me off about the whole thing.
It literally doubled.
Yeah.
And so
well,
I'm like, no.
The good news is
I don't want cable.
it's dissipating. That structure is crumbling.
And
Yeah.
either
That's
they will
nice.
completely crumble or respond to the pressure and become better because
Exactly, and
competition.
if they listen to,
And I don't care what happens.
Yeah, I don't
E-
care.
either
Just
one,
give us something
whatever.
that's
Like,
affordable that we can watch. Jesus,
it doesn't matter who it is. The one downside I can see though is that literally everyone does it, and you wanted like a lot of them, like Amazon Prime and Netflix, HBO Now, and like you could start spending like cable prices.
Well,
at that
see,
point.
and that's
So
where we're getting.
hopefully, maybe there will be a way to mitigate that, or
Well, they're
maybe
going to
enough
start
overlap or
selling bundles
something.
and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like how HBO broke down with Comcast and said, "Fine, fucking just offer HBO Go separately."
HBO Now,
You know?
the new service that they just released, it literally costs the same amount to subscribe per month
Mhm.
as it does if you subscribe through cable. Like it's $14.99, and that's
Wow.
what it cost. That's what they tack onto your bill if you have cable.
I didn't know it was so
And I'm
cheap.
willing
I
to
just
pay
assumed it was a
for
lot
it.
more.
Yeah, I always
But,
assumed it was too.
But I guess if you're already
and
paying like $100,
it's totally worth it.
I mean,
We watch
like-
Game of Thrones now, and we used to get dinged by CenturyLink, and I'd have to call and be like, "Oh yeah, we had a babysitter. I don't know about this downloading thing, huh?" I'm going to actually. We're about an hour now, and we're devolving into bitching about companies.
Those
At
are
least
my
I
favorite
am.
podcasts. The ones that
dude.
deviate from the subject.
We could
so.
record hours.
Oh, we
and be like,
talked
"Fine,
about
whatever."
Age of Ultron for like 8 minutes. So, all right, well,
Go see it if you haven't already.
Yeah,
Why are you
it's
listening?
crazy.
I told you to leave and go see it. What are you doing?
Yeah.
All right.
Thor is freaking Hulk's
Gotta
father.
say,
Oh, yeah.
like,
and
my-
Ultron has
You know,
a baby.
I never got to
Exactly.
say
I didn't see
my
the baby
favorite
coming. That was weird.
Yeah.
I thought was kind
Oh,
of weird.
and then the fact that it was black? Like,
Yeah.
why? That was weird.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I just don't know. Anyways, alright, well, thanks for listening. We have big announcements coming in terms of physical locations, so listen and support us. Like our Facebook page, Forbidden Planet Comics and More, MOAR. That's at Facebook. Yeah, I've tried to shorten it. They won't let me do it. It sucks. I want to shorten the URL. They won't let me do it. Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg, if you're listening.
Yeah, we know he's
Change
a big
it.
fan.
I need to
so,
rebrand.
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Thanks.
Bye.